Hello and welcome to the streaming studio. I'm Becky Phelps.
And I'm Collin Davies. Quite the fun one, ReliaQuest Bowl.
Yes, Hawkeyes walking away with, this is their first win in 3 years for a bowl game?
Yep, last win was 2022 versus
Incredible.
Kentucky, 21-0. So they get the big win. And we'll check out these live scenes as we have our team is down there and we see the post-game, Hayden Large and all celebrating. Iowa getting the 34-27 win over the Commodores. And it was really a game in which Iowa jumped out in front quickly and then were able to hold on, go back and forth, and the defense able to contain Diego Pavia. And we talked about this Iowa offense. They just seem to be clicking today. Mark Gronowski, 212 yards passing. We've seen him be able to rush the ball throughout the year, but not quite sling it like he did today. It seemed like this was the culmination, all that work. There was maybe a little bit concern of get that month off, maybe the passing game can be a little rusty, but that was not the case for Mark Gronowski and company. 212 yards, he was 16 of 22, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception with a quarterback rating of 174. And I mean, that 1 interception was a pass off the hands of Xavier Williams, was certainly not on Mark Gronowski. He put it right where he needed. So almost a perfect game from Gronowski, and rushing the ball too. He picks up another 54 yards on the ground, a touchdown. He had that huge 44-yard rush right out of the gate. This is an Iowa team that is going to go ahead and get their bowl victory here versus a Vanderbilt team that was ranked 14th in the country by the College Football Playoff Committee. Just a tremendous win for the Hawkeyes to go out and close out their season with a win. And of course, you see with something like this, it all comes down to being ready to play. It seemed like Iowa was ready to play today. They came out, they were a lot more physical than Vanderbilt, and that's where they were able to jump out ahead, and Vanderbilt just couldn't catch up because Iowa able to respond time after time.
Yeah, we'll give Chelsea Brown a shout out. She's behind the camera here live down in Tampa. Those are some pretty big smiles on the Hawks' faces, and they have really, really earned it.
And that's what it's all about. We spoke to them, I believe it was Aaron Graves I spoke to just a couple of weeks ago, saying, hey, we have whole schools that are opting out of bowl games. You know, what's your thought on it? He's like, yeah, it's ridiculous. You get one more chance to go out and win. This is what the game is about. Iowa and Kirk Ferentz, their culture is to go out and play every game like it's the biggest game in the world. And that's what they did today. It showed that they were clearly ready and they had a mentality that was ready to roll. You see this offensive line that won the Joe Moore Award.
They're so happy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They won the Joe Moore Award, best offensive line in the country. And a reason they're the best offensive line in the country, we saw it today with just how they were pushing around Vanderbilt early in this one. So it was just an offensive line really domination. They put on a clinic. Mark Gronowski, he was able to escape, but he wasn't under much pressure all game. And they kept it clean for him. He was able to stay confident. It's quite the game. We'll go ahead and take a look at some of the video from this one of the scores. Hawkeyes coming out with the swarm and all ready to go. Here was this Mark Gronowski. Now look, he gets kind of wrapped up. A defender puts his hand on him, but it doesn't matter because then he takes off, he puts his head down and goes 44 yards. I think I was watching. I was like, keep your head up, keep your head up. And then he goes off and goes 44 yards down the field. And he just hands it off to his man, Kamari Bolton. This team coming into this game, 93% touchdown percentage in goal-to-go situations. That's unbelievable. And who else was big? DJ Vanami. I mean, that one, he almost goes down. Then he picks it up. He was fantastic for the Hawkeyes. 146 yards for Vanami. This was the interception. This is Xavier Williams. He's a young back. He'll want that one back. But, Herky's face
on the ground.
Yes, Herky's face says it all right there. And then you have Reese Vanderzee, who's been the guy that need a fade route to go to. It's been Reese Vanderzee all year. And he was able to do it. Of course, he had that foot injury. Here, we were a bit lost here because of flea flicker. It was one of those double handoff flea flickers. And Vanami ends up with the touchdown there. And Diego Pavia was fantastic today as well. I mean, he was throwing it on the money deep. He had 347 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and 36 yards on the ground. But Iowa was just out in front. They were able to pressure him all day. And Mark Gronowski, Part of the reason they're 93%, like I said, goal to go, the tush push. They run it better than almost any other, maybe the best out of any college team in the country, and it really showed today. Mark Gronowski, he's a big quarterback, and they've got that.
He is. He's a huge
Yes,
guy.
I think he's 6'6",
That's
and
crazy.
He's built too, so he's got that offensive line, and no one's been able to stop them all year when it comes to that tush push. They're looking like the Philadelphia Eagles with the efficiency that they're able to run it. And the other thing is, we'll take a look at this defensive pressure too.
I want to really quick.
Yeah.
I want to let's pause on this. These were some really hyped up fans.
That's the pirate hat
It's an
there.
incredible shot.
So they're taking it. Raymond James Stadium is where they play, home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So they have a pirate ship in the end zone.
Okay, I think I saw. Did Chelsea
Yes.
post a picture of that? Yeah.
So they were able, for our pregame show this morning, they were
So
able to
funny.
shoot a lot of stuff. So we'll check back live here real quick and take a look. There's the man. There's Mark Gronowski. Excited. I assume they're going to get ready and get that trophy presentation going there. But we'll go and take a look at the defensive pressure, the sacks that this team was able to get.
Absolutely.
They were able to pressure Diego Pavia all day. It really started with Carson Shire. He had 2 sacks in the first half. That one, mean. We were thinking maybe targeting at first, went back, no targeting at all. And he was just all over Pavia. Pavia didn't really have much of an answer in the first half. And then in comes Ethan Hurkett. He had a sack and a half in the first half. This Iowa defense was just able to produce, and keep on producing. They're phenomenal the whole game, able to get after this Diego Pavia, kind of disrupt that offense just enough to build a lead. And I want to highlight one more thing, is this Iowa team throughout the year has started the game slow, but they did not start this one slow. They went up ahead quick. They went up ahead super quick in this one.
And you could hear it in the newsroom too. We've got
Yeah.
some Hawkeye fans
Yes.
around us, and they were loud. I did not watch the whole game, I will admit, but I didn't miss any of the big plays because every time something happened, I heard yelling all around me.
Yeah, they were super pumped. And rightfully so, because this is a team that, throughout the year has started slow, and they haven't been able to kind of get that rhythm going early. I mean, they start out, they go ahead 14-3. They go ahead 21-3. This is something that throughout the year we haven't seen.
Jeez.
You look at especially when you look at like the Indiana game or the Oregon game, they've kind of come out slow and they haven't been able to quite come back and finish the game out. And that's something they've been focused on, but there's only so much you can focus of saying, you got to find a way at some point,
And
right?
there's got to be like with your last game of the season,
Yes.
you kind of want to leave it all out there, right?
Yes,
Might as well go for it.
I think that was the difference. I think Iowa's culture showed through against a Vanderbilt team that Iowa's just in Kirk Ferentz. They're always, beginning of the year, they've got their eyes on a bowl game, and they're going to go through and they're going to try to win no matter what. Where you view so many teams that opt out, players that opt out, Iowa's all in. They only had, I believe, one player hit the transfer portal. All those guys, you can't say
Wow.
any of these guys weren't ready to go. They're going up to the trophy presentation here. As we look, that offensive line is highlighting it. You see, I think that's
a nice
Logan.
trophy.
That's Logan Jones right there, who is, the best. Also is the best center in the country, and he's the guy. You look back at Kirk Ferentz calling this a developmental program. Kirk Ferentz is right there. They started out with. Logan Jones was a defensive lineman when he came into Iowa. He switches over to the center in the offensive side of the ball, and now he's won the award for the best center in the country. It's just unbelievable job of what this program has kind of built and what they've become. And you can see with that offensive line a few years ago, there was some talk about that offensive line and may not living up to the potential, but they've been phenomenal. And you can see Raymond James Stadium all sunny. It was a little bit brisky for Tampa.
Brisky for Tampa.
Yeah,
What,
I think it was
50 degrees?
mid-40s. Yeah, it was
Ooh, 40s.
I know. I think that some of the locals were a little upset that all the Iowans brought the Iowa weather with them a little bit here.
Maybe that gave us an edge. I don't know.
Yes.
They felt in their element.
Yes, they were ready to go, and this was absolutely a fun game. I think an Iowa season that most would say is probably a big season of what if, because knock off 2 of those losses. So many of the losses, those one-score games coming down to the wire. You think Indiana's the number 1 team in the country. Iowa took them down to the wire in Kinnick, and they ended up winning the Big Ten championship. And what Mark Gronowski has done with this team is they've kind of ramped it up. But you look at the Indiana game, you look at the Oregon game where Mark Gronowski goes down, scores just over a minute left in the game, and you think, okay, they've gone out and maybe they've done this thing. And they just weren't able to close it out in the end in some of those games. But they come down and they're going to go ahead and get ready to Mark Gronowski. Assume that's his MVP trophy probably right there. They were phenomenal all year. It's a team of like I said, what could have been, and especially the USC game came down to the wire. 2 of those were 2 plays end up differently. They're maybe in the college football playoff, but either way, this was a fun Iowa team. I think most fans would agree. They were a fun team to watch all year, and it wraps it up perfectly, 34-27. They brought in Mark Gronowski for a reason, and he came in and finally, at the end of the year, really got going and was lethal with his legs, and his arm really showed out today. We didn't see it with his arm earlier in the season, but it really showed out today.
It was great to see, how far they've come, and for it to pay off like this is so special, I think.
Yeah, it was a fun one for sure. We'll have more coverage tonight at 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock, actually.
9 o'clock. Happy New Year's Eve, everybody. We've got a special 9 p.m. show for you. Yes, 6 and 9.
Yes, so 6 and 9 o'clock, we will have post-game reaction, so make sure you tune in there, and we'll hear from the players. We'll hear from Kirk Ferentz.
Yeah. Until then, have a great evening.